we're going to attempt this heart. It's going to start like this. Take a very long piece of 18 gauge wire, take the middle part, and we're going to bend the middle like this. We're going to wrap it around itself in a tight spiral like that. Once or twice around should be good. Then we're going to keep the strands side by side, come around like this, loop them around like that, come up into a smaller part. The heart's not going to be perfectly symmetrical, which makes it more interesting. I'm going to come around here, loop it through the first link of this spiral, loop these guys through, then come straight up like this and make the bail like that. That can be bent, twisted later, but that's going to be the bail. After we make the bail, we're going to come back down, wrap, and like a scallop across here. We're going to do that backwards. We're going to make the spiral smaller. Make this part bigger. Come through, make our loop, and then we're going to do the scallops. So the scallops will come like that, maybe once or twice. I'm not exactly sure how they're going to work. We'll figure it out once we actually have the wire, but I'm going to come across, and then we're going to end them by scarfing them around the bottom loop. So let's see if we can make that work. And if not, we'll come up with something else interesting. The other part is then I want to take thinner wire. Say this is the finished one. I want to take thinner wire, maybe start it right here, very thin wire, and just do like a diagonal wrap like that, but put a little bead in every once in a while through the thin wire. So you have a little beaded area just coming down one side like that, just to have a little more interesting something going on. So again, let's see if that works. And then again, that thin wire will just hide in the scarf right there. Let's see if that works. So I'm taking, I don't know, 2 feet. Hopefully that'll be enough. Famous last words. I should probably take 2.5 feet just in case. Get your needle nose pliers, grab it, put the two ends together so you can find the middle, and then grab it right in the middle, hold it tight, and wrap the wires around each other. Like that, and start to make a spiral. You can make it tight or loose, however you like. I'm going to make this one fairly tight because that'll be stronger, but not 100% tight. There's still a little bit of room in there. That's enough right there. That is plenty. I'm going to squeeze it this way to flatten it. Make sure it's fairly flat, and then let's arc out into... Now, a good way to do this first is actually draw a heart so you can get the size you want. I think I'm going to do that just to make sure. I don't want to make it extra huge or extra small. I generally want this heart to be about this big, which is pretty big for a pendant, but for a first try, it's sometimes better to go bigger. And then you can go smaller when you want, when you get really refined at it. You know what? I'm just going to wing it because this is an experiment anyway. So I want these a little tighter. And right here we'll do the bottom loop. Pull that fairly tight. That's good. And then we want it to curve, kind of curve out like that. And then curve back. If you want a good curve, grab the wire from really far out and let the wire just naturally curve as you bend it. Also, use your finger and kind of like slide it like that. You can sometimes get a good nice curve. And we want these to hook through here. And now we're just going to slide it. Make sure, if you don't want your wires to cross, which I don't, make sure you know which is where and they don't roll over and under, like these already rolled over each other a couple times, so I got to undo that. But if you don't care, then don't worry about it. So that's the smaller one. Okay. Rolling those in. Again, they're like, which is which? This one goes right there, and that is. So once again, they're switching. The one thing about putting two strands of wire together is they constantly want to roll over and under each other. And if you want to keep them side by side, you got to like stay on top of that. Right, there we go. which is fine. If they do roll over each other and twist, sometimes it can make it stronger. And then these, that wants to, I could twist that all the way around once to lock it in place, but I really want to keep that curve the way it is because it's so pretty. So I'm just rolling a little further, and there we go. And I'm changing my mind now. I don't want to do that original design. I want to stick to the heart that I'm used to making, which is basically right now we just scallop it right here because it just flows so naturally. So I'm going to bend it right across here. So we have another scallop right there. And bend it right across there one more time. And roll this a little tighter. Now, how do I finish it? Oh, we take, this is kind of fun. It's a little tricky, but it's fun. Cut maybe 1.5 inches. And we're going to take these and corkscrew them through here. It's a little tricky. Let's see if I can grab both of them. It's hard to grab both sometimes. Got them, and just coming around. It's tricky to get an even corkscrew that looks neat and not messy. But I think I did it. And once we're at the end there, take those 2 sharp ends and tuck them into the last loop they made themselves. Tuck them into themselves. Try to push it down into that loop so they disappear, never to come out and stab anyone. Give it a couple rubs, make sure you don't feel any scratches. And see, I only went around about twice with that corkscrew, and now I'm going to pinch it a little, try to make it more even. And I'm going to try to slide these closer together, again, make it a little more even. I'm going to fan out that loop a tiny bit more. I want that a little more of a curve there. Take my fingernail and just, okay. Other than that, it's pretty good. And squeeze it, flatten it. This is pretty strong. It's fairly strong. Now this I would have twisted by now, but I'm actually going to take the thinner wire, and that's going to finish it off hopefully, and scarf around there, make that strong. So make sure it lays flat. I'm going to take about 2 feet of this 26 gauge. Now if you want, you can do this little bead thing all the way across all of the parts here, but just to try it out, I'm gonna weave right in this little section. I'm gonna wrap the weave right in there to tighten this part here, so that'll strengthen the whole piece. And then I'm just gonna wrap around and around and put the little beads coming all the way down to here. So it'll just be on this side. And you want little tiny seed beads for this. I literally got this whole set at the dollar store, $1. But I think I want to use these slightly more metallic ones. Let's see. So I wrapped the middle of the wire around this part twice. And now I'm going to take these 2 strands and twist them several times to lock that part in. And now I was just going to take 1 strand and go across like that. I think I'm going to try 2 because that might be cool. Might be more of a hassle. We'll find out. So we're going to go 2 across here and put 1 seed bead down one of them. Just press this in through there, pull it tight, and we'll come around. Now I'm not doing it super tight. I'm doing wide diagonal wraps. We'll do another one. Now the cool thing is the crevice between the 2 long 18 gauge parts, the bead kind of sits in there, so it doesn't roll all around. It sits right in the front, and that's what I was hoping for. So you can have the beads facing in front all the way down. Okay, as I got them, they didn't always sit in the crevice perfectly. Sometimes I had to like play around a little bit, pull on the wires, hold them tight, but pretty much I like this effect. And now I'm down at the bottom by the 2 big loops. I'm going to squish them back together again, and we're going to scarf it, and that's going to hold it in place. And we're just going to wrap the loops stack them as they wrap around until we're happy with the effect. Maybe a third of the way up to, a third of the way down rather. And then we're going to take cutters and snip them about halfway across the loop. Careful you're not cutting anything else. So you have these 2 little tiny tabs. And take our pliers, push the tabs in, hovering over that little bowl you just made with the wraps, and then turn and pinch them right into the bowl So they disappear, never come back. If you're worried, you can put a tiny dab of E6000 in there. Make sure they never come out to scratch anyone. And here we have it. And this was a fun experiment. Again, you can run the beads up and down all these if you want. This was, for me, I don't like to spend hours on a piece often. So even this was a tiny bit tedious for me, but it's fun. I love how it came out. But you guys who have more patience, you know, go crazy with it. In the future, I would make the rest of this heart a little bit smaller. But I'm happy with this, and I think it'll look cute. Because we didn't put a bail up here, you can just hang a jump ring anywhere and have the heart hang at any angle you want, which is kind of fun.